8 of the PopNerdery Podcast. A podcast that's nerdier than a homemade full-scale Lego pre-Federation Kardashian version model of Deep Space Nine space station and the Bajorian wormhole in your aunt's basement. I'm your host,
Tarak Nor.
I suppose so, if you want to get into specifics. I am your host, Brent, and with me is the Martian Manhunter's perpetual succubus, Toph, and Aquaman's personal concubine, Dave. What's up, fellas?
Ooh, feeling good.
I'm living that dream as the Martian Manhunter's succubus.
If you are new to the PopNerdery Podcast, welcome. If you're back joining us, just remember this is a place where you are totally allowed to sit around, have an opinion on anything in pop culture, but you got to have more than just a little bit to say. We will pick out some headlines that have us talking this week, do a deep dive. This is going to be our one where we get to wrap up 2015 and put it to bed, and then we'll finally give some pop culture recommendations before we bid you adieu. So, Toph, why don't you let everybody know where they can find some more pop nerdery if this isn't enough?
Oh, we got so much pop nerdery for you. The first way you can get a little more pop nerdery in your life is on the Twitters, at PopNerdery, PopNerdery. We comment on things as they happen. We subtweet inappropriately. We make up hashtags. We misuse hashtags. And generally, I work through all the therapy that George Lucas has put me in for the past 10 years. There are 3 ways to listen to the show. The first way is on the iTunes. You fire up the podcast section, you click on that search bar, you type in Pop Nerdery, and bam, you've got us right there. Please rate, review, subscribe, click all the things you can click on with us, except for the one that says report for pornography, because unfortunately, that's not us. Second way to listen to the show is on the website, popnerdery.com. We archive all of our episodes there. We've got the old talkback section where talking back occurs, general arguments, and more, George Lucas therapy, as is my want. And finally, the third way is to recite all of Stephen King's books, and the one specific book that makes Dave Foltz piss his pants at night, he'll come over your shoulder, podcast live behind you. However, he'll do it in a terrified voice.
I will do it.
Don't make him.
As Brent mentioned, we are going to deep dive into our best of 2015, talk about some things that we really loved from this past year in our B segment. But first, we're going to talk about the headlines. Our last full regular episode, our last episode was our Star Wars review, which is a full 2 hours. Go listen to that if you haven't done it yet.
Get meaty, though.
How?
Yeah, we had fun with that. It was good.
My favorite thing about the whole thing is we almost talked longer than the actual movie was.
That is true. It was 2 hours and 5 minutes. The podcast itself is 2 hours and 6 with the intro and outro music.
Let's be honest. J.J. Abrams is better at editing than we are.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, our pacing wasn't quite as good as the Force Awakens.
Just gonna throw it out there.
All right. So episode 7 we recorded just about 3 weeks ago, which means there's a lot of news that's happened between now and then. I'll talk about the stuff that's newest first, and then we'll go back to some stuff that we absolutely cannot let go by. It's like a big, meaty pitch over the heart of the plate that we can't help but swing at. So we'll go back to some of that stuff. First up, because we just came off our Star Wars review, I did want to catch up on where Star Wars is at, how it is doing. Spoiler alert, good. The box office has slowed down just a little bit for Star Wars, but it is still on pace to pass Avatar and become the highest grossing movie of all time this week.
Hallelujah.
So, nice.
Yeah, so I always kind of felt bad. I'm a box office guy. Like, I like to look at Box Office Mojo and look at the head-to-heads and stuff like that. So whenever something is doing well, like especially this summer when Jurassic World was doing really well, you saw those comparisons to Avatar, and I always kind of felt bad for our society that Avatar was the highest grossing movie of all time.
Correct.
Like, I could have lived with it being Titanic. Like, Titanic's not my movie, but it is of quality. So Avatar, at least, I'm pretty sure that I had the same experience that you guys did, which was you saw it, you were like, interesting, and then you immediately forgot about it.
I actually didn't see it because fuck the zeitgeist. No, honestly, I didn't see it because I just wasn't fucking interested. That's why I was so confused that it was like highest grossing movie of all time. Like I wasn't captivated by blue cat people running around and throwing spears at each other and having sex.
Yeah, it was kind of like Pocahontas 2.
I drank the Kool-Aid. I was super into it the first time I saw it, and then I immediately recognized the comparisons to Dances with Wolves or Pocahontas were pretty spot on, and recognized that it wasn't quite as novel as I guess I thought it was. But
and Brent,
we're going to get 3 more of them. So
this is what I got you for Christmas. Prometheus was prettier.
It was prettier. It was pretty.
Had less colors, but yeah, I would say it was prettier.
That's what I got you for Christmas.
We will be able to turn the cultural page on Avatar probably by the end of this week, if not early next week, which is long overdue, in my opinion. And I think there's been some stuff that has been deserving over the last few years. But the only other piece of Star Wars news that we're going to talk about, because, like I said, we spent 2 hours on it last week, is that this week it came out that the name of the planet that Luke is on at the end of The Force Awakens, spoiler alert, was confirmed by a copy of the WGA script and also the junior novelization of the book. I was nerdy enough to read or to listen to the novelization on Audible, but I didn't read the junior novelization, so I missed out on this one. I know. Confirmed as I'm going to try and get this right. It's either Ach-2 or Octo or Octu.
I like Octu. Like Octu. if I'm just going off what makes my ears smile the most. Octu.
Yeah, I would like one long sound and one short sound. Octu or
Agreed.
Octo or Acto.
I like that he was on planet William Wallace. I'm really excited for this Braveheart sequel.
It'd be great if they were just like, it's just Ireland. He's just in Ireland. That's
Turns
where
out
he is.
he's in Scotland.
Turns out that's where he
Hey
is.
guys, it was Earth all along.
But they said it was a galaxy far, far away, guys.
Oh, sorry. Wormholes or Einstein, Rosen, Bridges, Thor fans?
You sound smart. Let's move on.
So that was the name of the planet, which was fairly anticlimactic because I don't think that's a name of a planet that we've heard before or is related to the original trilogy in any way. But the junior novelization did confirm it as the location of the first Jedi Temple. So apparently Luke was successful on his mission. Anyway, we're going to move on from Star Wars. Ryan Coogler, which we talked about, I think in episode 6, has been confirmed as the director of Black Panther for Marvel, which is fantastic in my opinion. I know that we've all been stuck on Star Wars, but I did have a chance to go see Creed on New Year's Eve with Carl the Destroyer, and it was fantastic. If you have a chance, I would even recommend, there's not a lot of movies that I think it's necessary to go to the theater for, and that's one of them that I think it is. There was an especially impressive shot about midway through the movie where they did an entire boxing match without a cut or without a visible cut. And it was really impressive. And
Birdman did stuff.
Yeah, and that's the kind of like flashy directing that I hope we get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first
shout
and foremost,
out to friend of the show. Yeah, shout out.
Carl the Destroyer.
Friend of the show.
The second thing is, the sooner we get this Black Panther movie, the better off all of our lives will be.
Seriously, I'm really. It's the one I'm looking forward to most in Phase 3, and that includes Civil War, which I am really psyched about. I really think.
Yeah.
Civil
I
War,
think I'm with you, which sounds really strange, but I think I'm actually more excited for Black Panther than I am for Civil War.
Well, and I think it's because, like, I don't want to get greedy. I feel like I've already gotten lucky enough to get 2 fantastic Captain America movies. Yeah. So if this third one is good, it's like, it's like I...
House money, right? You're playing with house money.
Exactly. I put my chips back on the table, and, I got a little lucky.
And frankly, if I may be a little bit of a naysayer, I could totally see Civil War being just one big action piece. Mm-hmm. In a not necessarily a negative way, probably kind of necessary for the story, but I could see as if we're getting our first big deep dive into the character of Black Panther, they're going to have to spend some time establishing a lot of stuff.
And this is what we talked about earlier, is that we looked at Civil War as kind of just a great big 2v2 battle royale. You have, Cap and War Machine, and you have, Iron Man and Bucky, and, even Falcon. It's just, I think you're kind of right. It's going to be, the whole thing is superheroes face off, which lends itself to a huge action set piece, whereas hopefully we'll get a bunch of the character that makes Black Panther, one of my favorites in that universe.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hoping that Civil War will give us a little bit more of the Winter Soldier vibe, whereas Winter Soldier did have some slow moments that were, it was a true thriller. So I'm kind of hoping you get a little bit of that, but I totally understand where you guys are coming from. Thor Ragnarok, there have been some more comments about that. It is confirmed to have the Hulk, a Hulk that is smarter, I guess, Mark Ruffalo said, and the majority of the movie will be it will take place in the cosmos, so not on Asgard, not on Earth, but out in the cosmos.
Yeah.
So Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther will be the two movies that will most closely link to Avengers Infinity War. So I'm excited about that one. They've said that Infinity War will be shot mostly in IMAX, which I can't name a movie that's been shot mostly in IMAX. Usually, like
the ones where people die on mountains are usually the ones that are shot in IMAX.
So the there were some of Star Wars, there were some of Dark Knight. There's some, usually like one scene is shot in IMAX for a movie. So I'm excited to see what Infinity War is going to look like. If you want a quick spoiler, in my opinion, I think they're going to use a lot of the most recent Avengers Infinity event. It's a really pretty looking trade paperback. It's a $50 trade paperback, so
it smells like a movie.
Yeah, you may want to just like page through it at Barnes and Noble. I bought it for the art alone. I like the story, but the story's not, it's not anything groundbreaking. It does give you a really cool look at Captain America translating his leadership skills to, leading the entire galaxy against, a single enemy, which is kind of cool. So that's my spiel on the MCU. It was reported this week that Daredevil Season 2, which I am looking forward to in a big bad way, is going to launch on March 25th, 2016.
Oh, that's so many months.
If that date sounds familiar to you, it's because that is the date that Batman v Superman launches.
Oh, God.
It really seems like Marvel just wants to fuck with DC.
Is it wrong that I'm actually more excited for Daredevil Season 2 than I am Batman vs. Superman?
Nope.
It is wrong emotionally, but right logically, I think.
I mean, if this was a pure Batman movie, then I would have no problem. But the fact that I got to deal with Superman's bullshit, I think I just might stay home and watch Daredevil.
I think I have more confidence. I mean, I'm going to be at Batman Superman on Thursday night. Like, trust me, that's going to happen. But I have more confidence that Daredevil will be good.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally agree with that.
That's because there's already been a good Daredevil, and I haven't seen
a good Superman since Superman 1?
Or to be honest, a good DC movie directed by Zack Snyder.
Since Batman Returns.
And there were parts of Man of Steel that I liked, but the majority of that movie was pretty harsh.
It's pretty bad.
So Daredevil Season 2, also we've gotten a couple of screenshots recently teasing the Punisher. We haven't seen the skull on his chest. I'm sure in proper Daredevil fashion they'll wait 10 episodes to show it to us. But we saw a showdown between Punisher and Daredevil. We saw a screenshot of Elektra Nachios, which he looks Greek and will probably be less annoying than Jennifer Garner.
God, let's hope so.
I generally like Jennifer Garner, just not really as that character.
She's very milquetoast for me. But yeah, go ahead.
I like her.
Yeah, she couldn't have overcome the script. Honestly, I think you could have put just about anybody in that movie with that script, and I don't know that anything would have.
Right.
If you want to watch a movie where they really take advantage of Jennifer Garner's milquetoastiness, and they do it well. Watch Invention of Lying with Ricky Gervais.
I've
never seen that.
She was really good in that.
Yeah, I really think they do a nice job of taking advantage of what her kind of public image is and what she has been known to do in movies and use it for comedy, and she's really good in that.
Good. She needs to do more of that for me to have. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's about 700 times more attractive than I'll ever be able to produce anywhere along my bloodline, but yeah, that movie's old enough where my opinions of it, I guess, don't really matter, nor do they matter about Jennifer Garner. But,
no, that movie is dog
I'll check
shit.
that one out.
No, that movie is dog shit. Like, don't beat yourself up. That movie is dog shit.
Yeah. And Brent, this is a place where you can have an opinion on anything in pop culture, and you have to have more than just a little bit to say.
Oh, that makes me feel a lot better. Thanks for clearing that up, Dave.
Welcome to PopNerdery.
Other news that is newer that I'm just going to kind of fly by. Out today, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, there's been some toys that seem to confirm that KRANG and the Technodrome are going to be in it. Which, like, I watched that first movie and kind of, like, live texted it. I don't know if I live texted it for you guys or if it was for other people. And it was terrible. It's terrible to watch. Megan Fox is awful. The character design for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, also awful.
The whole thing is bad.
But, like, if it's going to have KRANG and a Technodrome and Bebop and Rocksteady, that's like the cartoon. That's 1992. That's what that is. So I may...
As much as I loved that everything about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles circa 1991, I can't ever think of a scenario where I will actually sit and consciously watch anything about any of this new iteration.
Yes, you have young boy childs.
Yeah, you'll eventually get back into it. It'll come back around to you.
Mutant Ninja Turtles. It gonna happen.
Fair enough, but it won't be my choice.
I agree.
I won't be like, hey guys, want to watch?
Yeah, they will expose you to it as opposed to you exposing them to it.
What about Ninja, Rap, Ninja?
Like I said, everything about that era of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did it for me.
Yeah.
I fell in love with pizza because of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I will say that I got the chance to see one of the costumes from Secret of the Ooze, the turtle costumes, up close.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, they're fucking mind-blowing. In terms of practical effects,
it's crazy.
Making a ninja turtle come to life, that practical effect costume is, I mean, truly, it's one of probably the best things I've ever seen. And, like,
it's absolutely nuts.
The pictures of, like, the Waldo rig that goes into the face to do all of the actions and everything else, like, it's kind of incredible.
I mean, and now that we're talking about Ninja Turtles live-action movies from the early 1990s, there's a podcast called I Was There Too. It's hosted by a guy named Matt Gorley, and essentially they take, like, a background character from a movie and talk about the scene that they were in, and they go super in-depth, and they talk about behind the scenes and what their career was like.
Oh, cool.
Usually it's a bunch of character actors, so it's super interesting to listen to, because I don't really have, like, a facade to put up for their career now. There's an episode they do with the guy who was in the costume and did the voice for Raphael in those two movies, and it's crazy interesting to listen to.
Cool.
Yeah, it's crazy interesting.
And let's be honest, Super Shredder in that movie was the most badass thing on TV.
Pretty boss.
On any screen. Yeah.
He was so badass that he murdered himself with a dock. Talking about super badass. Speaking of super badass, the Deadpool Red Band trailer was released while we were gone. Holy shit, guys! This is one thing that I was talking about. We can't not comment on it because it was that good.
I agree. I almost want to see the Deadpool movie like the day it comes out because I'm so into Ryan Reynolds and the Deadpool character, and I think they are doing all of the marketing super intelligently. And what's weird is I always bust on comedies when, they're giving me all the jokes in the trailer.
Yeah.
I don't even care about that with this here because I recognize that it's just going to be a whole movie of like Ryan Reynolds snark. So it's all going to feel like funny and
And
clever.
T.J. Miller's
throughout
going to
the
be
whole
there.
movie.
I am done with the trailers though. Like in the same way I stopped watching Star Wars trailers. Like I didn't watch this one because I'm already in. I'm already buying tickets. Like let's get to the movie.
Yeah. The side marketing that they're doing is also pretty awesome. Ryan Reynolds
It's very
tweeted.
cool.
He live tweeted the Bachelor premiere as Deadpool, which was kind of funny.
And like I followed that more than I did the trailer because that shit is fucking hilarious to me. Like that's beautiful.
And they just really get the character, at least, from the trailers. He's breaking the fourth wall. The whole movie's rated R. They're like, it's
not just part of the movie?
Yeah, kind of connected to the X-Men universe, but in a way where he's like, just to make fun of it. To be like, come on, Colossus, don't go all X-Men on me. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
The last major piece of news that I have is, while we were gone, Entertainment Weekly released the first photographs of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and holy shit, does he look good!
So fucking good.
He looks exactly like you pulled him off the page of the comics.
I'm so fucking jazzed.
And
Cumberdict is the man to play that role, and we talked about this before. We don't have to beat a dead horse. Marvel has done another smart thing by they're going to make a movie that's about magic and mystical shit, and then put a character into it and actually let him do his thing.
Yep.
And all the concept art, the word that keeps getting attached to it is psychedelic, which is I want to see that. I want to see a Marvel movie where that's the prime descriptor.
Fuck yeah.
When we first started getting superhero movies like with any sort of regularity in the late 90s, it was all the Fox stuff, and they felt like they needed some cool, hip, like design on all the costuming, and even like the MCU. Iron Man looked like Iron Man, but Thor looked like a badass version of Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Batman in the Dark Knight looked like the badass, versions of the
like
Frank Miller Batman.
Yeah.
Yes. They just went with what was right for the look of this character, and they didn't overthink it, which I can so appreciate because in kind of this world, it's almost like design new toys so that we can sell new toys.
Right.
Design new ships and gadgets and weapons so we can sell something different.
Right.
But
it would have been
it's not like Doctor Strange action figures were flying off the shelves before this, so I guess they didn't have to fight that, but I'm just glad they went with what they did.
It would have been like if we'd gotten the X-Men for the first time at this point and they'd busted out the iconic yellow costumes.
Yeah,
right.
But they had just gone straight to that.
Right.
I feel like this is what we're getting with, this whole iteration is we're not going to adapt it. Like, we're not going to Foxify it or, dick around it.
They did not step around it. The guy has a cape of levitation and an eye of Agamotto.
God, it's so good.
They're not fucking around. They're not fucking around. Which I think is something. That all of our pop culture grandpa, Mr. Stan Lee, would be proud of. Stan Lee is
happy birthday, Stan.
Yes, he turned 93 also while we were gone.
Whoa.
This is the guy.
You suave motherfucker.
If you are a true believer, like the rest of us, make your way out to a Comic-Con that he is at and just go look at him in the flesh
just
one time while he's still around. Just tell him thank you. Like, don't bother the guy. Don't even get an You don't need an autograph. Just say thanks.
Conversely, if you don't want to go to a convention and be surrounded by smelly, weird people, you could just thank him by going back and buying some of that Silver Age, Golden Age stuff, and that might also work well.
I don't know if he gets a cut of any of that shit. Let's try and find some stuff that's
good. You don't think Stan gets him a little piece of that? Come on, B. Stan's got his hand in the pocket.
Yeah, he figured it out.
It's all in the game, yo. It's all in the game.
I love that man, Stan Lee. I fell in love with Stan Lee while watching X-Men VHS tapes early in the 1990s. And then again when I saw Mallrats when I was in my teenage years. So that guy will forever have my gratitude. We're going to talk about, right now before we take the break, we're going to talk about some of the Netflix original series that we're going to get in 2016. Topher sent us over a link kind of going through the ones that are premiering. So not not Bloodline Season 2 or Orange is the New Black Season 4 or any of those that have already been around, but the new series. And, I mean, we're not crazy excited about any of them other than Luke Cage. I mean, Luke Cage looks fantastic.
I'm into Luke Cage. The rest of the shit, I flipped through and just like, there are one or two that I was like, maybe this could be a thing, but like, I need Fuller House like I need a shotgun blast up my fucking ass. Like, I don't need another Full House. Khal Drogo in a, like late 18th century period piece, okay, that's a loose call, but the rest of this shit is just, I don't know, like, hopefully Netflix makes $1 billion off of this stuff, because that would give them money to make more of the stuff that I want, like Luke Cage, like Orange is the New Black, like anything that doesn't involve Ashton Kutcher, which is one of their new shows. I don't know. It's one of those things, like, Netflix has given me a lot of good things, so I want them to make money off of their new shit, but I was very excited when I saw 15 shows, and I don't care. Dave, please tell me why I'm... Help me.
I mean, I guess I'm kind of in the same place where you are, where I'm hoping that this is an effort to bring in a wider, more diverse, different audience.
Sure.
To get people who aren't already subscribing to subscribe based on, a Judd Apatow comedy about relationships, which is he's a guy who can draw audiences with his name alone. Right.
And, like, to be fair, we got Daredevil and Jessica Jones, so I
in the same calendar year.
Right. So. I saw that lineup and I got very excited about the shows, and then just none of them were for me, which, again, as we talked about, if it means they make a bunch of money and can make other stuff that I'm really into next year, then hallelujah. I will. Yeah. I would actually sit there, start streaming the stuff, and walk away out of the room just so that you get the numbers up if it meant I could get more of the stuff I want.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hoping for more prestige drama, kind of like House of Cards, stuff like that. I want either more Marvel stuff or more prestige drama. But
the only thing I noticed when I was scanning this is some of the comedy definitely does have an appeal to me.
What were you interested in?
Well, Dave already mentioned the Judd Apatow. It actually stars the not Alison Brie female from
Gillian Jacobs.
Gillian Jacobs.
Cool.
So that just for the same reasons that You're the Worst on FX hit home. I think that that one could hit home. They describe it as an unflinching, hilarious, and excruciatingly honest take on modern relationships. But
I don't like the word excruciating. I don't want any of my entertainment to be excruciating. Like, my real life is excruciating. I don't need my media to be excruciating.
Fair. And as somebody who understands just kind of the allure of Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events and recognized that film was a huge flop, I think the medium of television or episodic programming could be a lot better for it. Yeah, so
and I like that movie.
Those are the ones that caught my idea.
I'm with you. That was the one that kind of stuck out to me as a thing that I was like, ooh, this could be really cool, because I liked that movie. And I don't like Jim Carrey in a lot of stuff, and I thought he was fucking great in that.
Yeah, again, your point is totally valid. I'm not, making sure my Netflix account is active on the day that any of these come out. But if I hear great things about them, I could understand why.
I think they really went with a slate that is not for us, since the last slate we got was for us. And again, like I think the consensus is, please let all of these shows do super well so they make super tons of money to make the stuff we're into.
Yeah, and a lot of the returning shows are for us. You're going to get a House of Cards, new season. You're going to get
Black.
Right. You're going to get Daredevil season 2. You're going to get
Jessica
probably
Jones.
More quickly than they've announced. You're going to get Jessica Jones season 2.
Oh yeah, that's going to get fast tracked based on how well that's done.
So yeah. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the news. We have successfully, in my opinion, caught up from our 3-week Star Wars-induced hiatus. So we're going to take our first break, and we'll be right back to talk about our picks for the best of 2015.
Welcome back. to the PopNerdery Podcast. In the B section this week, we are going to dive deep into our favorites of 2015.
So deep.
Oh, yeah, all the way in. We're going to, thankfully, not just talk about movies, which is something that we are apt to do. However, we're going to bring you a lot of recommendations from all over media everywhere. We're going to talk a little books. We're going to talk a little music. We're going to talk a little web series. We're going to talk a little movie. We're going to bring you the things that we feel were definitely our favorites, as well as potentially underappreciated in 2015. And definitely have some stuff for you guys to check out. So, with no further ado, Dave, what's your first favorite of 2015?
My first favorite of 2015 is actually, I think, the least mainstream of these things. So that's kind of I wanted to start with it. It's something that I heard about on a podcast that I've been listening to for about 2 years. It's called Get Up On This, and they talk a lot about hip hop on that show. They talk a lot about different movies and TV that you should be watching and probably missed, or you should be watching and haven't hit yet. But one thing that they talked about this year that was huge for me, and I watch it all the time, is there's this thing called Compliment Rap Battles. It's a web series on YouTube. They have their own YouTube channel. It is these guys who are, I don't know what they do in their day jobs, or if they have day jobs, or if their YouTube channel supports their rap battling, but they are legitimately talented rappers who are typically doing like a rap battle that most people, their exposure to rap battling is the third act of 8 Mile, right? So normally they do that where they make fun of each other and they really try to hit each other hard. They try to win. This kind of flips it on its head, and it's super apropos because it happens in Canada. It's called the Compliment Rap Battle, where they have to battle. And someone's trying to win, but the only way that they can win is by complimenting the other guy more.
Is this like the historical rap battle thing? Because
no.
I really fucking hate that. It
is not like that. This is a rap battle it's recorded video from a live show.
Live.
I love that.
It goes 30 minutes, and there's crowd reaction, and it's very well produced.
Okay. Beautiful.
So the microphones catch everything they're saying.
Nice.
It's very, very nice. And honestly, this is one of the reasons why I wish we could play audio on our podcast and why we should invest in figuring out that technology. But there's one in particular that if you're going to check one of them out and spend your time watching one of them, just go to YouTube, go to the search box, type in Compliment Rap Battle, and one of the first 2 or 3 that pop up is one between 2 guys named Pat Stay and Rone, R-O-N-E. It's 30 minutes long. They do 3 rounds where these guys battle each other for 3 rounds going back and forth, and it's hilarious. It is not only is it funny, they, like I said, are seriously talented rappers.
They got skill.
And it is very fun to watch them turn it on its head. I've never ever heard rappers like gush about somebody with their rhymes.
Well, that's the beauty part, right? Like it's easy to come up with a bunch of negative shit and fake that. It's probably a lot harder to come up with authentic sounding compliments.
Yeah, and if you
go ahead.
I was going to say, if you like these guys, there are a bunch of regular rap battles where they just tear each other down.
Right.
There are a ton of those on the same YouTube channel, and they're all very good and very talented. But it devolves into, you're so white, or you're so fat, or you're so...
thing you've heard before.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's and they're very, very talented at that as well.
Sure.
So they're fun to watch. But I like the Compliment Rap Battle, and I especially like that they take place in Toronto because it makes it
feel somehow Canadian, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
So just to pull back the curtain a little bit for the PopNerdery listeners, Dave did send one to us earlier because I was not familiar with the concept at all, and the one he sent me initially starts off with these 2 guys up on like a tour bus, on like the top deck of a tour bus.
Yeah, they do a little skit,
and they do a skit that I didn't perceive as a skit at first, as if they just got engaged, and then they're on stage giving each other compliments and actually commenting on each other's genitalia and things, and I was like, I think this is a couple, doing this.
They're not.
And I'm
this
very
is the best gay
confused.
marriage thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
And I was just like,
I'd done that with
wow.
my nuptials.
What a subculture of the gay community that I didn't realize existed.
Never mind the gay community. Like, I was just like, why wasn't my fucking wedding day like this? Because this seems fucking rad.
So I'll play the naive card for sure on that. Turns out they're not a couple. In fact, one of the guys is married with a kid, and at one point comments that he would choose the other guy as the child's godfather, and that was a comment.
To be fair, I've written a lot of fan fiction about that couple now, though.
He does. To give you a little bit of flavor, he does. The one guy at one point compliments the other guy so hard that he says he calls him Father of the Year.
Right.
In reference to that same thing.
So
It's very good, very funny. I will not do it justice if I try to spit bars here on the podcast.
don't do it.
Nah.
You know what we can do, though, is we're going to link the shit out of it in the comment section of this episode on the website. So
it'll be linked on the podcast post, and also I will post all of our recommendations in the forum or the talkback section of the website.
hallelujah.
Boom.
Brett, tell me about one of your favorites for 2015.
So yeah, mine's probably something that's on a lot more people's radar. I remember when the song Hotline Bling came out, and I heard it first, and it was kind of catchy, but it's Drake. You know, say what you will about Drake. At this point, I can't tell if he's trolling everyone or if he's serious about everything he does.
I just
or
like
if
the
he's
way
like
that you said, I remember the way when Hotline Bling, like, I remember when Pet Sounds came out.
I love Aubrey
like,
Graham.
I remember when I remember where I was when the challenge blew up.
Dude, it's 2016. 2015's already been tucked away.
That was so long ago, B.
So long ago.
I remember when I
retro
saw
on you.
Drake
Talking about Drake.
on Degrassi Junior High.
No,
that I could have gone with.
So I remember. The point is, I remember when that song came out, and then I remember the reaction that the Twitter sphere had when the video for Hotline Bling came out.
Lord, yes.
And just all of the memes that happened in that moment, and I was so excited about it. Because it was just hilarity, and it was exposure to, you know, the world of Black Twitter and everything that I'm only kind of a happy observer of, obviously. But the best part is, as a SNL guru, the next week, I think the very next week, they already had a digital short parodying the move, or the words are hard. They already had an SNL short parodying Hotline Bling called Dance Moves. Did either of you see this? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Was that the Donald Trump week?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
And that's why I put it in my top for the 2015. It was the result of Drake being at his most Drakiest, and it caused all these memes, and then the parody was hilarious, and fucking Donald Trump was in it, and it was hilarious. And frankly, I'm doing this more out of anything to get Jay Farrow on people's radars, because that guy is fucking talent. So Dance Moves on SNL just made me chuckle and want to watch it over and over again.
I mean, very appropriate, because Donald Trump is parodying our entire political system right now.
He is. He's so meta.
Too soon.
It's not over yet. It will be soon.
Oh, God.
Actually, it won't be over that soon.
Yuck.
At least the Donald Trump of it all, maybe.
Yes.
Toph, tell us about something better.
Yeah, my recommendation is nothing that was from a TV show or from YouTube.
There you go.
I'm going to make a semi-serious recommendation here on Pop Nerdery, which is not something we usually do, short of talking about Batman. We're always serious about Batman.
Wait, all of our recommendations are serious. Come on, Toph.
Yeah, I know, totally. So Sufjan Stevens released an album this year called Carrie and Lowell. Sufjan Stevens, probably more so than anyone else short of Elliott Smith, scored a lot of my college years and has produced now, basically as many albums as Pink Floyd. So, dude's got an output, and a lot of them have been very good, and a lot of them have been very weird. And in this one, he kind of returned to his indie folk roots, where it's just him, a guitar, maybe a banjo, light drums, and did an album of, I think it might be one of my favorites in easily the past 5 years of just like honest folk rock, like indie rock, indie folk, whatever you want to call it. It's very like honest songwriting and very sparse instrumentalization, and it's really, really fucking brilliant. Like in a year that we had a ton of Drake and Future and Nicki Minaj and fucking, who's that one? Taylor Swift. That's the one I really fucking hate. This is an album that's actually like honest songwriting and very good. And maybe it's just like, this might be the point that I just admit that I'm a fucking dad and dad rock is my thing now, but good God, like this was the best sounding album I heard the entirety of the year. So
can I ask you a couple of questions?
You may.
One, have I been saying it wrong the whole time? I thought it was Sufjan Stevens. I was pronouncing the J.
Sufjan.
I have definitely been saying Sufjan.
Oh, Sufjan Stevens. That's what I've been saying.
To be fair, the first month that I had heard about him, I said Surfjan. So I was putting an R in where there definitely wasn't one. I was like, right. Surfjan. He sounds good.
Well, I am now corrected. Can you tell me on this album? So the album that you are recommending, is Carrie and Lowell.
Yeah.
Can you give me what are like 2 tracks on it that like a guy who likes indie acoustic rock? What are my 2 tracks on this album?
Yeah, I mean that's a lovely question. I would say that the 2 that are probably my favorites are the eponymous track, Carrie and Lowell, is fantastic, and then John My Beloved is also great. Honestly, this is one of the albums that, and part of the reason I recommended it is because Spotify came out with like the your year on Spotify, and I apparently crushed the shit out of this album without really kind of noticing it. Like it's been one of my favorites to listen to in the car. I listen to it when I'm at work. Like it's very good kind of background music as well as music that you want to listen to in the foreground. It fulfills both of those things. Mm-hmm. So I kind of went back and listened to it a lot in this past week after Spotify told me that I had crushed it along with Fish, The Grateful Dead, Ryan Adams, and Elliott Smith. And I was like, oh, neat, I'm in college again. Thanks, Spotify. Yeah. Awesome. It's 2007 all over again. Da-da-da.
Okay.
You grew your hair out over your eyes and just looked in longingly at girls from across the room, didn't you?
Kind of, and then I didn't have enough credit card balance to pay off my fucking Knicks tab. It was amazing. Everything was great again. But yes, in terms of like all the stuff that had happened, this is the album that I apparently listened to the most this year, and actually it's one that I really, really love. It's a return to form for him, and it's just honestly, I'm a recovering hipster. This has been well documented. It's part of my therapy, but this shit sounds authentic. Like you recorded it at home, and it sounds like that, and it sounds good.
Absolutely.
Dig it.
All right.
So Dave, take me to your next favorite of 2015.
So my next favorite of 2015 has been a favorite of mine for a very long time, but I think they capped it off and ended it well. It's very difficult to end a sitcom well, and that's what I think Parks and Rec did for their 7th season.
Nice. Yep.
This happened a long time ago. At this point, most people, I had forgotten that season 7 of Parks and Rec came out this year.
That seems like longer ago, but yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a long time, and I think one of the reasons why is that it was kind of rushed out by NBC. They at least gave it, a final season to finish out the storylines of all the characters, but it was rushed out in a weird way where like they put out 2 episodes every week to get it finished. And it was a show that really flew under the radar for me for the first like 3-4 seasons. Mm-hmm. I didn't like it when it first came out in a very similar way to like I don't really like a lot of sitcoms when they first come out. When you get those first 5-6 episodes, it took them a really long time to find their footing. So if you have never watched Parks and Rec, what I would suggest you do is go to Netflix and start with, if you're a completist, start at season 1, episode 1. But if you really want to get a feel for the Parks and Rec that I love, start at season 3, episode 1. After they've lost their first male lead and have gotten, a little bit of Rob Lowe and Adam Scott in your life.
I want to double back here quickly, only on that. I actually like this after like the 3rd episode. I felt like this was one of the quickest to get into.
Yeah.
I would say like mid first season. It kind of sets the tone. I think the awkward thing I'm trying to say that I'm bad at language for using is I think you will know if you like the show by midway through the first season. Throw away the first 3 episodes of every sitcom, and then you can kind of figure out. But once they kind of get past like the pit as the defining show issue, you start to get into the tone of the show. And I feel like Parks and Rec is one of the shows I've seen that maybe has done it the best in terms of getting into the crux of the show fastest.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for them was at the very beginning of the show, they tried to make Amy Poehler's Leslie Knope a little bit too much like Steve Carell's Michael Scott.
Oh yeah, totally,
absolutely.
So she was supposed to be that kind of like awkward, uncomfortable humor that Michael Scott was, when really the heart of that character is the balls out optimism and drive and the how capable she is as a character.
And even better is like she's actually halfway capable. Like Michael Scott is a complete failure. Top to bottom.
Oh yeah.
Leslie Knope
she's very capable.
She's pretty fucking capable.
Oh yeah. She's almost capable to a fault, and that's where the comedy comes from, is that she goes overboard.
Right. And they really hadn't fleshed out the character of Ron Swanson very well, or Chris Pratt's character. Though that stuff didn't all start clicking. I'm kind of with Dave till season 3. There were still plenty of great moments because the tone, I think you're right, did get fleshed out. But those secondary and even the kind of characters that were in the background forever and then started really coming out made that show great.
The show gets better season by season, but I do think that there have been a couple shows like we've talked about at length, The Wire, where you basically just suffer episode 1, and then by episode 8, you're kind of hooked, and then by episode 2, you're getting a wire tattoo.
Yeah, by season 2, yeah.
Parks and Rec, maybe I might be alone in this, but by the middle of season 1, I was like, oh, I get the tone of the show, and if they figure it out, it'll get awesome.
And I think what has turned it into, and I say this with no sarcasm, no joke whatsoever, what has turned it into my favorite sitcom of all time is that the characters get better as you learn more about them. There's no character that you get sick of because there are enough of them. Yeah, there are enough of them where there's always something new. And I think that the big thing for me is that season 7 happened this year. They finished very, very strongly. They predicted a World Series championship for my Chicago Cubs in 2017, so I'll go ahead and root for that.
So let's pray that it's gospel.
Yes, and also for you folks, this is timely enough. The 7th season comes to Netflix on January 13th.
Boom.
So you'll have all 7 seasons of this show to stream.
Love it. Watch it. Get you this show in your eyeballs because it's delightful. It's probably my favorite example of sitcom TV in the past 6 or 7 years.
Rashida Jones is pretty damn great too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, she boss as hell.
If you listen to this podcast and you don't identify with Ben Wyatt at least a little bit, you're probably in denial.
Yeah.
You're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
So, speaking of lying to yourself, Brent?
Oh, I lie to myself every day, and I am actually.
I want to be clear. That was no segue. It was just the thing I had handed to me, and I ran with it.
I will actually lie to myself and to the listeners.
Good segue. Heyo.
Because my recommendation is something that I haven't finished. But it started this year. It started so strong, and I think it was a little underappreciated. That was one of the terms you used earlier, Toph. It's a television show. I think people have probably heard about it because it has a 98% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and the performance by the lead actor has really been touted, but I don't know a lot of people that actually watch this show, and so I think I need to do my part to bring it to more people's awareness. The television show Mr. Robot aired on USA this year. Excellent performance by Rami Malek. I think I'm saying his name right. Who plays, this socially anxious, depressed techie guy who in the in the dark catacombs of his apartment does some sketchy shit, almost like Neo in the Matrix, I guess. But he gets recruited by some activists to take down an evil corporation. So already in the very first episode, there were all these elements that either felt super familiar or super unfamiliar. The main character, Elliot, is somebody you don't see in TV or movies very much. And I think
at least as the main character.
Yeah. This is a show that was missed by a lot of people. The last thing that USA had was Burn Notice, and that was like 10 years ago. So,
right.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I'm trying to bring it up now is this show, if you didn't know it was on USA, you would assume it was a Netflix or HBO show or something. It has a sneaky fun performance by Christian Slater, who I didn't even realize was still alive, so that's fun.
What I was trying to speak over you, unfortunately, and say, if I like X, I would also like Mr. Robot. What is that X? Like, if you're a fan of this thing, you'll also like Mr. Robot.
If you liked Matrix when it first came out, I think you'd like it. If you like V for Vendetta, I think you'd like this. If you liked, I was almost going to say Lost, because I think there's some elements of big corporation. How many strings are they pulling? Why are they doing this? There's some elements there. But I think The Matrix and V for Vendetta are more spot on for kind of tones that you'd be looking at.
Would you say?
Sold me.
Would you say that this is like USA Network's first, like, dipping their toe in the water of prestige television?
Probably, and I think one of the things that this is very much representing is this kind of syndicated, or not syndicated, but long narrative form television show, which is not customary, still sometimes for a lot of the cable networks. You have to go to a Netflix or Showtime or something to get some of these.
Especially not on USA.
Watch. AMC, maybe, but not USA. So be ready to binge watch it, because you'll just want to keep eating it. And that's why I kind of stopped after about 4 episodes, because I just couldn't invest the time. But I've got them sitting on the DVR waiting on me.
Nice.
I need to figure out which of the streaming services USA goes to when they're done. Whether they all get loaded up to Hulu or they all get loaded up, because it is definitely one that has been recommended to me more than once, and I just haven't had the opportunity to check it out. So.
There's a really great website my friend Dave Foltz reminded me about.
Shit!
It's called CanIStreamIt.com.
Thank you.
You should check that out, Dave Foltz.
Dave Foltz.
Essentially, Brent just told me about the website. Let me Google that for you.
God damn it, you beat me to my own joke. God damn it, Dave.
All right.
Oh, God. And things that aren't Dave Foltz, let me Google this for you. My second recommendation is Neil Stephenson's Seven Eves, which is a book that came out this year.
Books?
It's a book.
I know. I read books. You sons of bitches.
Sell me on this book, sir.
Well, it's paper, and you have to read it. And
on
I've already
Audible?
lost
Are
you,
you
haven't
sure?
I? Yeah, you know, I shouldn't have to sell anybody. Yeah.
We're just fucking with you. We love books.
I do.
I don't think you guys can read. Can you actually read? Be honest.
No.
There's this word, it's littered all over the page. It's like tehe? Tehe?
Tehi?
Tell me about this book. Tell me about Seven Eves. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Seven Eves is by Neil Stephenson, which, you know, Snow Crash. I didn't really sell anybody on Neil Stephenson. It's fantastic. This is the book they came out with this year, and it had a lot of hype, and I was kind of, I don't know how to put this. He'd written a lot of fantastic books, and I very much wanted to be excited about this one.
Okay.
And I didn't think that I was going to, just simply because, like, the review copies were so gushing and everything else about it. And then I opened up the book, and the very first line of the book is, "The moon blew up without warning, and for no apparent reason."
Whoa.
And that's the first line of the book. And I was like,
Ooh.
Yep, Neil, you did it. I'm in. I'm in this whole thing.
I'm in now.
Yeah, so, you know, speaking of not burying the lead, the book goes from there. Like, it's all about, you know, the moon blows up, and that, you know, it kind of seems inconsequential when you think about the moon in terms of the Earth. And then if we suddenly had no moon, we very much have a very big problem. So it's one of those things where, you know, it's a fantastic author. You know, in so much as, like, I'm recommending Seven Eves. If you've never read anything by Neil Stephenson, I highly recommend you go read Snow Crash, because that's fantastic as well. But this one is very much kind of, it splits the line between, like, the Martians' hard science, which we very much liked, and, like, pure science fiction of, like, a Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's set squarely in the middle in terms of, like, if the moon disappeared, we'd all be very fucked. And it kind of goes from there. So, you know, it's a fantastic author with another great offering. So if you're into the kind of, like, mix between science fiction and hard science fiction, Seven Eves is right up your alley. And, yeah, it's probably one of my favorite books that I've read this year. Definitely my favorite one that's been released this year.
I'm going to Amazon right now.
Yeah, it's worth your time. I mean, honestly, if you can blow up the moon in the very first sentence of the book, and that's not the most interesting thing that happens, you did good as an author, right? Like, yeah, just like right on Front Street, like, the moon blew up, by the way, 300 pages after this. And also, they're awesome.
Hey, I don't want you to necessarily spoil the whole book for me.
Yeah.
But did it make sure to cover exactly what was happening with all the women's periods?
Yeah, I guess so, because everyone dies. So,
okay.
Yeah, no, it covers everything. You're right. Yeah.
There you go.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, everyone dies.
So for those of you who don't know how to spell Seven Eves, I'm going to give it to you. It's 7, the number.
Uh-huh.
It's like 7, like you spelled it out, and then Eves.
Eves.
7
like
Eves.
Spelled.
But it's all
Eves.
one word.
That assumes people know how to spell the word Eves.
All right, so if you'll Google Neil Stephenson, you'll find everything you need to find, including...
That assumes people know how to spell Google.
Jesus. So, www.neilstephenson.com. You can actually find the first 26 pages of Seven Eves and see if that's the kind of thing that you're into. And spoiler alert, you're into that kind of thing. So
you're into it.
You know what I'm really hoping? I'm really hoping this thing goes to paperback before I go on vacation in the spring. That's what I'm hoping on.
That's a good sign. Speaking of things we're hoping on, Brent, give me your number one favorite thing of 2015 that you're hoping on people will go ahead and put in their face.
You know, I do feel an obligation to bring this up yet again. It's been brought up on maybe 3 PopNerdery podcasts already.
At least.
And I am going to talk a lot louder because the freaking guys that I podcast with won't even put their eyeballs on it for a total of 2 hours apiece.
I let you down. I let you down.
Just make their friend Brent feel better about
Maybe you
himself.
should get a beer. This is going to go on for a while. Just get a beer now. Settle in.
My top movie that came out in 2015, just barely, January 21st, 2015, was a film by the name Ex Machina. Everybody saw the trailers for this. I feel like a lot of people saw it. It pulled in $37 million in the box office, but I don't think that's enough. It's got a 92% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie was one that was just barely on my radar, and I'm sure was barely on many of yours as well. It looked awesome. It looked visually stunning. It looked just kind of action-packed and intense and psychological and all that. But then I went to see it, and I fucking loved this movie. Granted, because I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, a lot of the motivation was just to go see two actors that I knew were going to be in the new Star Wars film. That was actually the first time I ever saw Oscar Isaac. And Oscar Isaac's character, I will keep spoiler free. Oscar Isaac's character in it
dies at the end.
Is one of the most just unreadable characters that I've seen in a film in a while. And that's kind of as far as I'll go on it. It's really fun to just watch how Oscar Isaac plays the part. And it kind of sold me on him as an actor, and made me just want more of his stuff, obviously, which I got with Poe Dameron, and I got with Llewyn Davis, the Coen Brothers film, which was meh. And then the other one was Domhnall Gleeson, who I had actually seen before in the Harry Potter films and didn't notice. And then I saw in Black Mirror. Shout out to another friend of the show, Keith, for recommending Black Mirror to some of us on PopNerdery. Black Mirror episode with Domhnall Gleeson was one of my favorites.
It's fantastic.
And
which episode was he in?
I'll see if I can pull up the title.
He was in the one with Haley Atwell.
Yes, exactly.
With Peggy Carter from Captain America.
We'll add that.
That was a great episode.
Section of this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the episode entitled "Be Right Back."
There it is.
Great episode.
Black Mirror has some new episodes coming out soon, from what we understand.
Yeah,
so
Netflix has gobbled it up.
Yeah. So Ex Machina. I also kind of, after we had the conversation a few episodes back about Blade Runner, am starting to understand that Ex Machina was my Blade Runner experience. I saw Ex Machina before I saw Blade Runner. And so I feel like we're kind of we can tie a nice little bow on Blade Runner because I saw Ex Machina before I saw Blade Runner. Ex Machina hit me in all the right feels and all the right places in the same way I think Blade Runner might have for you, Toph. So, again...
I'm going to go ahead and make you this promise that I will watch Ex Machina before January ends.
I appreciate and don't believe you.
No, I will watch it. I will watch it next week. And
from what I'm way warmer. I was like this month. Dave was like, I will give it to you in the next 7 days.
Days. I'm a deadline whore. That's
fair.
That's what you get.
Yeah. Honestly, though, just check it out. I think
is Poe Dameron
Alicia Vikander is gorgeous and could be kind of a big deal too, because she just seems remarkably fun in interviews and smart and stuff too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see kind of an uptick in her career in the near future. So yeah,
fantastic.
Check out Ex Machina, please.
So Brett is smart and pretty, so you should listen to his recommendations. Dave, can you possibly compare to that fantastic recommendation as your favorite thing of 2015?
Yes. I mean, I don't have to sell you on this thing. We've talked about it once or twice before. In fact, it was mentioned just a couple of seconds ago in comparison to Seven Eves. It's The Martian. The Martian was my my favorite non-Star Wars thing that happened to me this year. I loved The Martian. I loved the book. I loved the movie. Matt Damon was a perfect choice, I think, in my opinion, to play the lead character in that movie. And it's again another book that hooks you right from the beginning. he pretty much just starts off and says, "Well, I'm pretty well fucked," and then proceeds to science the shit out of an entire planet. And that's it. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably saw The Martian. If you didn't, just do it. Just go see it.
Just go ahead.
It's a Ridley Scott joint, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. This is a very, very good. If you would like to get the full experience, read the book first. I read the book first, and I loved doing it that way. I can also recommend the audiobook. The audiobook is very, very good, very well performed, and it kind of, I don't know, it helps to give you the isolation that he would feel. When you hear the guy on the audiobook speaking into, your car speakers as if he were speaking into his computer, you think about what that would feel like if no one were listening. I mean, honestly, it's what I feel every time we record this podcast. I talk into the microphone and I'm
just shouting into the nether.
And I'm not sure anyone's listening, but that's okay. That was a meta commentary.
That's fair.
But The Martian, I'm done selling. Just go watch the damn thing.
Yeah.
And Toph, you want to take us home, buddy?
I do. And God help me, I've discussed it a couple other places, how when the Mad Max trailer came out this summer, I looked at it and went, this is a really pretty trailer, but I'm going to be so disappointed. And I skipped it in the theaters. To my eternal shame, I skipped it in the theaters and waited till it was released on, home media. And then I saw Mad Max, and God, it was my favorite thing that happened this year. It's so good. It was and we discussed this at length in our trailer episode, but it was one of my picks to the trailer delivers on everything that the movie is. Yeah. It took a franchise that was pretty campy and kind of dumb, honestly, and made it into a world that you very much wanted a lot more of.
Yes.
This is something that, on its surface is pretty, it's fine. It's just kind of like a normal action movie, but they built a world and didn't give you that world so that we have sequels and comics and everything else that's a part of it. Dave, talk to me about, I know you saw this recently.
I did. I just saw it for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and the thing that kind of shined through for me was that, and this is kind of a comment on the whole year, this year was the first year where we kind of cashed in on the promise of sequels and reboots.
Yeah.
This was the first year where it didn't feel like it was exploitative. We were just going to put out a sequel or a reboot to cash in at the box office.
Right.
This is the year where you took these existing properties and made them better. We did this. I think we took an existing property in Star Wars and made it better than what we had gotten over the last 30 years.
Yep.
You took an existing property in Creed, in the Rocky franchise, and got a better version of what we've gotten from Rocky since Rocky 1.
4.
Yeah,
Rocky 4 is incredible.
Rocky 4 is great, but Creed's better than Rocky 4.
You watch your goddamn mouth.
And the same thing with Mad Max. You took a franchise that I wasn't particularly interested in.
Nope.
It was a fun concept that never really reached its potential.
Yeah.
And different than Star Wars and Creed, which kind of had fans as directors, this had the original guy go back and make it better. Make it the thing that he envisioned it as, because now he has the ability.
And that was the really fun thing with me for Mad Max, is this movie is very much actually not about Max.
Oh, yeah.
It's a secondary character. And
Absolutely.
that leads us to, a lot of curiosity about the world that we exist in. And then it also led to some incredible, after the film came out, but then some kind of prequel comics that came out, and it set the tone for the sequel and everything else. Yeah, it's very similar to what I was saying about Star Wars last week in terms of this movie is really fun and I really liked it. But in all honesty, the thing I'm most excited about is how it set the table for a world that I would like to spend more time in. And that's been kind of far and in between in terms of like the stuff I've seen this year. I very much am excited just to spend more time in this world.
Yeah, and
Cool.
you hit the nail on the head. The title of the movie is Mad Max, but Tom Hardy as Mad Max maybe has 30 lines of dialogue in the whole movie.
Yeah,
Tops. They should have called it Furiosa Fury Road. To be
Mad
to be
Max
totally honest.
Furiosa Road would have been the smarter thing, and I actually would have been happy with that. Because let's be clear, she kicks all of the ass.
Oh yeah.
Mad Max kicks a percentage of the ass. Furiosa kicks the majority of the ass in this movie, and Lord Almighty, is that fun to see.
And the only it's going to be overshadowed by Rey. That character is going to be overshadowed by Rey at the end of the year with everyone seeing Star Wars.
Yeah.
But when you talk about a year in which strong female characters really took the forefront for the first time, and not just in a token way, but in a real serious way, Charlize Theron was first. She was the first one there.
There should be two of them, and I'm kind of with you. Like, I think Rey probably takes it, but in reality, when we come to Best Actress, it should be a dogfight between the two of those for carrying action movies that have been so very male-dominated and poorly dominated for a long time. And those two women come along and beat the ever-living shit out of those roles. Like, it's fucking awesome.
High praise.
I want Marvel to back a dump truck full of money up to Charlize Theron's door and have her play Captain Marvel.
Basically, like, I kind of want, like, I want Rey to win Best Actress and Charlize Theron to win Best Actor, and just drop the double bird and then leave the thing at the fucking. Honestly, she fucking earned it. Like, those ladies should just sweep everything.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so good, so good.
Nice.
So we're gonna head out here. The B topic. If there's other stuff that you'd liked in 2015 that we left out, holler at us. Holler at us in the comments. Holler at us on Twitter at PopNerdery, or fire up PopNerdery/Talkback and tell us what you liked this year that we left out. Because we left out some pretty good stuff. So I'm just saying there are things to talk about. We're going to be right back for segment C, where we talk about the things we're most excited about in 2016. Stick around.
And welcome back. So in this final segment, we will just talk about a couple of things we are looking long-term. Usually we talk about just recommendations kind of right on the horizon. This is kind of for the whole year. Yes, I know we just talked a hell of a lot about Star Wars in this last episode, but frankly, the thing I'm most looking forward to this year, if I'm looking at the entire year, is Star Wars Rogue One, which will come out in less than 365 days. Like, I don't feel like people really recognize that we're going to get 2 Star Wars films in the theater that have a high potential to actually entertain us.
They're not dog shit.
In the theaters, brand new releases. Yes, it's not going to continue the story of Rey or Finn or Poe Dameron or answer any questions about Snoke, or will it? But it's really going to just be a fun opportunity for us to, I think, get a grittier Star Wars, a story in the Star Wars galaxy that we've probably never truly gotten before.
No.
One of my favorite quotes from Gareth Edwards was saying, it says wars in the title, right? So I feel like this is going to be, it's total, nerd service at this point. It's going to be a dark film. It's not going to be a film for your kids. Frankly, I think that's what the saga films still are going to mainly be. I don't think it's going to, be so gory that it's, on.
It's not going to be Saving Private Ryan. Put it
Exactly. But I think we'll get a lot of that same feel, and it might be able to do a nice job tying in a lot of stuff from A New Hope and maybe even Rebels. But be kind of a cool little standalone thing. So I'm excited about that for sure, especially since we've gotten like nothing on it. We had a tiny little teaser trailer that we only ever got freaking iPhone video of at D23, I think was where that came from, and that's all we've gotten. There was talk about teasers maybe coming with The Force Awakens, but I think Disney has to be very conscientious about marketing this for the masses. The marketing will not be for us. The marketing will be for everybody else to be like, hey guys, this isn't episode 8. Hey guys, see this thing? It has nothing to do with that thing that came out in December, and that's going to be a tricky thing. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
Brent, where's the lightsaber girl? I wanted the lightsaber girl in this one.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious to see how they handle that, and they might have super grainy footage so that it clearly looks different. Something's going to have to be different about how they present it to the masses.
Maybe no John Williams.
Could be. I don't know.
And that's honestly scary.
No title crawl. I guess I assumed there would be a title crawl, but again, none of that affects the marketing as much. But yeah, I kind of want a crawl, but I don't know. So we could sit and debate that for hours, as we basically did in the last episode. But yeah, that's the thing I'm certainly the most interested in. I've basically been spoiler-free on it, and I think we have all the story we kind of need going in. It's them trying to steal the Death Star plans to set up the story in A New Hope, and that's exciting. I like it. What about you, Dave? What are you most excited about this year there, pal?
I guess I am. We talked about it a little bit, so I won't go too in depth. But I think that I'm most excited about Daredevil season 2. We've seen the kind of Daredevil origin. We've seen our Jessica Jones origin, but I'm excited to see these Netflix series dig a little deeper because, as we talked about in our representation of comics and TV episode, the thing that these Netflix series have over all the movies is that they have the perfect format to dig deep and dig into these characters and give you the fan service that you want, but take the time to do all the things that you need in an effective piece of television or movies or whatever. So Daredevil Season 2, which should be launching at the end of March. And then the other thing is, if you're paying attention to Batman comics right now, Jim Gordon is Batman currently because Bruce Wayne, long story short, memory loss, had a battle with the Joker that was a very, very satisfying read, so I won't spoil it for you. Go read Batman Endgame, which was a Joker oriented story. But he will be returning to the Cape and Cowl. Bruce Wayne will be returning to Cape and Cowl as Batman. It's going to continue to be written by Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder is, right after Frank Miller, probably my favorite Batman writer of all time at this point. It was a little premature to say that previously, but they've put in 6 or 7 extremely strong story arcs, and he really gets the character. I love listening to him in interviews. So the return of Bruce Wayne as Batman, which I'm sure coincidentally will happen right around the time this movie is released in March, because Warner Brothers not particularly good at choosing directors, but they're very good at synergizing their comic and movie properties.
I like it. How about you there, Toph? What would you say is the biggest blip on your radar?
Bleeps or blips. I'm actually probably the most excited for continuation in 2016. I'm very hopeful that we'll get new stuff as well. But the things I'm probably most excited for are the next season of Peaky Blinders, the next season of House of Cards. We've got Orange is the New Black. Obviously, Dave talked about new Daredevil. I'm very much into that. And then actually one of the things that I haven't finished off from 2015 is the Amazon Prime Man in the High Castle that dropped in November, December. I'm not all the way through that, and we're getting another season sometime in 2016. So I'm very much excited about that. I'm going into 2016 as the year that I finish off the things that I have maybe started, including Game of Thrones, because I've read all the books, I haven't watched all the shows. Probably should go ahead and get around to that at some point. So.
Oh, are you going to finish Lost this year?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Listen, did you not read the list of shit I have to watch? Like, I got 9 other things to get to that's going on currently before I can, go back into that kind of stuff.
It's cool. I'm still trying to finish World War Z that Toph handed to me, I think, in 2007. So
Wait,
I have...
you'll like this. You'll probably read it in, 2 weeks.
Probably. Sounds good.
10 years ago.
I mean, to let the listeners behind the curtain, World War Z is currently sitting in the back seat of my car. I am not Brent. It is sitting in the back seat of my car to return to Brent so that he can finish reading it.
Well, Dave, I hope you like the shit out of World War Z.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in another episode.
Nah, you guys are assholes.
Stay tuned for episode 64, where we finally talk about World War Z.
The book, not the movie.
Honestly,
Right.
that would be the longest joke ever if we waited until episode 64, then we did a whole B segment on that book.
Fuck you. Read the fucking book. It's good.
It's a date. Episode 64 will
God
be
damn
the
it.
World War Z podcast of all time.
All right.
All right, Brett, I'll finish
podcast very well.
Ex Machina when you finish World War Z.
No!
Oh,
No. Reading
watch
is
Ex
hard.
Machina
Watching
next
movies
week.
is very, very easy.
You guys, the goddamn worst. Also, the best.
Hey,
I agree. You guys are equally the worst and the best.
you know what was my favorite thing in 2015, guys? The fucking PopNerdery Podcast started to exist in the world.
It is pretty.
Booyah, bitches.
All right.
That brings us to the end of the show. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, podcasters, for being here. As a reminder to the listeners, join in on the conversation in the comments section. Hit up the talkback page on the website. Please edit or rate and review the podcast. We'll take care of the editing, no problem.
It won't get any better.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
edit
edit
any of this.
yourself in the comments, please. We clearly don't on here. So help out the show. Subscribe all your friends. Subscribe all your devices. You will find us in episode 8. You can find me on Twitter at shouldn'tbragbut. Dave, where can our listeners find you?
I tweet as the show at PopNerdery.
And the fine friends and listeners can find you where, Toph?
At the hospital ball.
Well, gentlemen, it's been real, and we'll catch you next time.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Finger guys.